All right, folks, we're back. We're live. Welcome to the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben. I'm crushing samples tonight. Let's get into it. All right, folks. How's everybody doing tonight? Got a bunch of people in the chat already. That's awesome. Peter White, what's happening? Sugar Kitty is in the house. Chris Jenkins, what's up, brother? Dave Renstrom from Apple Valley. I remember that from last week. Non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang is here. And I do have a non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang sample on the bar tonight, so that's awesome. Jerry Internet, what's up, Jared? Good to see you here. Bob. Jerry Internet is here quoting his daughter. Ryan Frank is here. That's awesome. Good to see you, brother. OG Brick 420, what's happening? Wolf E. All right, all kinds of people joining right up at the beginning here. So, tonight, I don't really have is Apple Valley near Sacramento, hashtag Greg thing. It's near Burnsville. I don't know. Not Sacramento, though. I love that you guys still remember the Greg tropes from back in the day. The next time I talk to him, I'm definitely gonna mention that to him. So, Bourbon School is here. What's going on? I don't know. I'm assuming that's Brian, possibly Marianne as well. I did put the link out if some people want to join. I don't know if anybody's going to or not, but there may be some special guests at some point here. So anyway, folks, speaking of special guests, a little bit ago I had Brian and Deb from Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts on, and we had done like a sample merch kind of care package exchange, and then they sent me some more samples, and so I've got some samples here from them, and I thought tonight, really leading up to this, I figured I want to start making my way through some of these samples, and some of these are from local distilleries. So this is one called Hartman's Distillery. It's out of Buffalo, New York. I think, Brian, I think you've sent me some samples from them before. I think, don't they do the... don't they do like an American single malt or something? Or are they the ones that do the 1 foot cock bourbon? I don't know. Brian, any chance he has to talk about 1 foot cock, he seems to do it. So I'm sure he's going to jump into the comments and let me know if that's the same distillery. I don't know if it is or not. But anyway, Hartman's Distilling. So that's what's kind of fun about this whole, sharing samples back and forth, is getting to try some, distilleries that are not nationwide, that are local to, other people's channels that may not lend themselves to doing like a full-on review because they're a local distillery, but, get to sample them anyway. So I've got Hartman's Distilling Double Oak Bourbon, aged 66 months. So why do they make you do the math on that? All right. 100 proof. And then Hartman's Distilling Stout Finished Bourbon, Experimental Series 2, aged 4 years, 100 proof. I've never had a stout finished bourbon before. Excuse me. So I'm going to start with this one. I did have a control pour of the 80 proof Old Grandad. I got to tell you, if you're going to crush an 80 proof bourbon, it might as well be Old Grandad. Stout finished bourbon. So, all right, let's get into this. Now, I have no basis of what Hartman's Distilling bourbon tastes like in general. So I don't know if this is going to be a great comparison to see like how the stout finish affects it. Let's see. Hartman's is nice. Sourced from MGP. All right, there we go. Brian, thanks for the info. Their own stuff is either out now or on the way. They have some really good collabs with local breweries that have resulted in some nice stout finished bourbons. Jay Rassett, hey, what's up, man? How are you? I haven't seen you show up in the chat before. You must have seen my Facebook page or post. I actually posted to Facebook this time. Torab Hodel in here. He's going to let us know what Bitcoin is doing today. All right, so let's get into this stout finish bourbon here. Yeah, okay, he did see it on the Facebook post. Maybe I got to start doing that more often. 1 foot cock is from Buffalo Distilling. They distill all of their own stuff. Okay. It definitely has MGP vibes to it, for sure. Old Forester 7 can help. Really? Okay. Where did you find a bottle of that somewhere? Wookie Foot, Far From Good is next. I actually, after we did that live stream, Torp, and you brought that up, I was actually crushing that whole, just listening to that album. Yeah, the old Fits. Jay, I didn't know you were a bourbon guy. All right, let's get into this. Cheers, folks. Ooh. That's interesting. That's like you can definitely get a finish off of that for sure. It's got you can definitely tell the MGP base. I'm not saying I would have guessed that if Brian hadn't hit me with that information, but after being told that, you can definitely get that. But it does have kind of like there's a darkness over the top of it, almost like a. Let me get one more sip here. It's almost like a Tootsie Roll, sort of chocolate on top of it, which is interesting. And it's a little oakier, which is nice. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I really dig that. It's kind of one of those ones that, like, it's standard bourbon, but it's got just a little bit of, I always say a little extra stank on it, but stank in a good way. Yeah, just a little something extra. Yeah, that kind of Tootsie Roll note is really nice. Just started a couple of months ago. Wow, bourbon is a rabbit hole. Let's see, GTG, chilling with tunes on my balcony right now, Puddle of Mud, Psycho. All right. Oh, and that's why you said Far From Good is next. That's up on the playlist. Myron is in the house from Bourbon Drop. What's happening? So our next, have we announced our next Whiskey 6, by the way? That's next week, right? Oh, hey, Myron, can you remind me one more time what town that Total Wine was in that you had on your bourbon hunting video? Man, that's good. I'm kind of surprised that July 24th with Baker Drinks. That's right. So I didn't know if we had announced who our guest was going to be yet or not. So Troy and Laura from Baker Drinks. I'm super excited about that one. Anytime I get to be on with the Bakers in any capacity, that's always fun for me. So, you know what's interesting is like, so you've got like so Jameson has a stout finish, Irish whiskey, and I think they have like, is it an IPA finish? Correct. Sugar Kitty probably knows this. Yeah, it's a stout cask and I think an IPA cask. You don't see a ton of bourbons finished in beer casks, which is kind of weird. I'm surprised that I know they're out there, but like there's actually a brand called Beer Barrel Bourbon, but I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been a bigger thing that's taken off with all like the finishing that's been going on lately. Like we had the Amberana craze, which I think is kind of dying down a little bit. We're getting the maple syrup barrels craze. Now that like tequila finishes are a thing now, and I'm just kind of surprised that this isn't more of a thing because that's actually really good. And you would think that a stout barrel would actually be a good, kind of like a no-brainer. You would think that would definitely be a good one. Oh, so it is in Baltimore. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me, I'm going to take a picture of the screen right here so I can make sure I remember that. Son of a bitch, it went away. I know this is riveting content right here when I'm doing this, but, you know, I can't... Oh, whoops, I accidentally started the YouTube channel page. Okay, let's get back into it. Sorry about that. I've been drinking Goose Island Bourbon County Stout since 2013. So is, Dave, that Goose Island, that's the beer that's aged in bourbon casks, right? Let's see, New Holland also has some whiskey, which is beer finished. Okay, nice. Let's see. Don't miss episode of Whiskey 6. It's 4 of your favorite bourbon channels. And Bourbon School, too. Nice. Yeah, go check out the Whiskey 6, folks. We have a ton of fun on that channel. If you don't know, it's me, it's Bourbon School, Bourbon Drop, Bad Axe Bourbon, and then Sean from Whiskey Wars / Mash and Metal. And then we always have a special guest. So next week it's going to be Baker Drinks. So if you want to go search for it, search for @thewhiskey6. Search for the handle. If you just type in Whiskey 6, it's just going to bring up a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyway, we learned last week that apparently if you talk about the Epstein files, you get tons of views. We went last week's episode got heavy. We talk about stuff other than just bourbon on that channel. So okay, both take you to the same. Some addresses say Baltimore, some say Dundalk. Okay, awesome. Barrel-aged stouts. Okay. I'm not, Jay, I'm not terribly terribly adventurous when it comes to beer, but I am getting there. Like I've tried some stuff down at Hayes, some Hout stouts and some they had a coffee porter that I like. So I'm actually working on getting a little bit more adventurous in my beer drinking. But when it comes to just sitting around the house drinking beer in the garage or something, I am a total basic bitch. Yellow beer. That's about it. Just yellow American beer.
I drink American beer.
All right. It's a good hole.
That's what she said.
Just nailing it with the drops tonight. All right. So let's get into this second one. This is Hartman's Distilling Double Oaked Bourbon. Experimental Series 4. And I'm just having small pours out of these, so I'm saving some in case I want to bring them up in another episode or something. So it's the fun part about doing a flight on a live is just small pours. Keep it on the rails. All right. So this is a double oak. I've had plenty of double oak bourbons, but speaking of double oak bourbons, I hadn't bought a Woodford double oak in a long time. And then I bought that store pick. I did a review of it a few weeks ago. And I'm specifically saving, making sure I save some of that bottle because I want to do a batch versus barrel episode. If you don't know, that's when I take like a single barrel of something and pit it against the regular batch product. And then I still have a little bit of the Woodford double oak left, and so I'm going to do a batch versus barrel versus batch of that. But I got to tell you, it's I have been chipping away at that bottle. I don't think I'll ever not have one of those on my shelf again. It had been so long since I had bought one of those, and I've just been loving it, just absolutely loving it. I forgot how good that is. And it's very similar to Old Forester 1910, which I have had on the shelf within the last, I don't know, I suppose I probably haven't had one in like a year. But I don't think I'll go without having at least one of those two on my shelf from here on out. That has earned its place as a regular shelfer for me. So other double oak bourbons have been good, but Woodford and Old Forester just kind of have their own kind of base flavor profile anyway, and I think the double oak really suits that. So let's get into this one. Cheers. Interesting. That's kind of got like a, I'm assuming this is an MGP base as well, but this one's definitely different. Like you could really pull out the MGP in this stout finish one, but I don't know, the double oak coming across a little bit different. Now watch, this is actually the MGP and the stout finished isn't. It's the type of thing that happens to me. Be clowned on the World Wide Web for all to see. Brian, last week's episode was fire. Yes, it was. That was a heavy one. I measure all other double oaked bourbons by Woodford Double Oak. I would say in quality, that's certainly fair, but I think that Woodford, I say this all the time, like Woodford and Old Forester in particular, both Brown-Forman products, just they already have their own sort of unique, kind of recognizable flavor profile. And so it's almost like it's not even comparable, But the double oaked in conjunction with that flavor profile is just off the hook. It's so good. And at what is it, 90.3? Is that Woodford's jam? It's always like 0.3. That thing's got a ton of flavor. So yeah, I will definitely always be keeping one of those on the shelf. I think that Rebel small batch reserve, by the way, special reserve, that's another one that's just an absolute monster. It's so good. Unfortunately not available in Minnesota, but I was told, I think Troy had commented this on the video from Baker Drinks, and then somebody else that they thought that the Rebel 90.4. Okay. Yeah, everything's 0.4. That's right. Yeah, everything's 0.4. That the Rebel Special Reserve was like leftover old Fitz juice or something from Heaven Hill or something like that. I don't know. There's something about that. So I'm wondering if, at some point that's going to go away, and maybe they'll keep the brand, but the juice will change. So I am tempted next time. I'm tempted to just make a trip over to Hudson. It's about an hour from here. Nice town. Good liquor stores, and just go, if I see those, just grab a few of them and just, rabbit hole them. Bunker them, as they say. Let's finish this one off and get to the main show. These are mere palate cleansers for the cast-strength bangers to come. Holy Jesus, it's only been 17 minutes. All right. So what I wanted to do, kind of like the Canadian Chris, cheers, eh? What I wanted to do tonight for the main thing, before I got sidetracked with the Hartman's Distilling, which were really good. Thank you, Brian and Deb. Non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang had sent a King's Family Distillery 15-year light whiskey, 132.3 proof. It dawns on me that I think I've only ever had one light whiskey in my life. So I have no basis for comparison, like what light whiskey actually tastes like. So I've got, bam, this is the one that I own. This is from Obtainium from Cat's Eye Distillery out of Iowa. It's also MGP juice. I don't know if this King's Family Distillery is or not. I would assume maybe it's sourced, because this seems like King's Family is a Tennessee distillery that's only available in Tennessee and Georgia, from what I can gather from their website. I tried to look up more information on that, but their website was being a dick about it. So, but this is 14-year light whiskey distilled in the Bush administration, 2006. Good Lord, this has spanned multiple presidential administrations, one of them being an 8-year term. Jesus. All right. And so this is a 14-year... what's the proof on this? It's a banger. Where in the hell is it? Good Lord. 68.6. Somebody do the math on that. So anyway, I wanted to compare these two and just see if... because I hear people talking about light whiskey a lot. It's kind of like turned into a thing. And I know Myron loves the... is it the Penelope light whiskey, Myron, that you love so much? Or the Old Carter, maybe? And so, yeah, I wanted to give it a shot and just kind of see if... if this is an accurate kind of depiction of what light whiskey tastes like, or at least cask-strength light whiskey. It's so funny that light whiskey actually started out as like a trying to compete with vodka. So light whiskey in the distillation kind of picks up where bourbon leaves off as far as distillation proof. Light whiskey, I believe, has to be distilled over 160 proof. So bourbon can only be distilled up to 160 proof, put in the barrel at 125. Light whiskey has to be distilled at a minimum of 160 proof, and they started doing that back in the day to compete with vodka, because after 160 you start to strip the grain flavor out and just the general flavors of the mash out, and that actually was their goal. So they used to take this stuff, distill the shit out of it, and then they would proof it back down to like 80 to make it more of like a palatable thing for vodka drinkers. And now some of these companies, I don't know why they were making light whiskey, but they were, sold off some of their, highly aged stock. This isn't obviously from back in like the 80s and 70s or whenever that was going on. But yeah, some companies were making it, but then they're releasing it, barrel proof rather than proofing it back down. So kind of appealing to the whiskey lover then. So it's kind of interesting. All right, let's see. I'm going to catch up on some chats here before I get into it. I bought a bottle 175. Ryan Frank coming with a home wrecker of Ron Diaz. While shopping, the worker was by me, and the first bottle on the shelf had a dent in the bottle of plastic, so I skipped past my OCD and bought it. Let's see. Troy said the Rebel Small Batch Reserve, $30, 110 proof, is Heaven Hill Distillate, Old Fitzgerald. It's good for the price. Yeah, I think it's excellent. I mean, for $30, I don't think you can get a better bottle. Full stop. 137.2. Okay, awesome. Part 2, I haven't given it my strongest bear hug and only popped out about 3/4 of the dent. I feel strong but yet weak. So what are you doing with Ron Diaz rum? Is that like, are you mixing that? Dave's rolling his eyes at the non-bike riding title that he was given. That was forced upon him. I'm sorry, Dave. It's just never gonna... That's not going anywhere. Once I get an idea into my head, I just beat it into the ground. So... It's non-bike riding Dave Vogel saying, and there's bike riding Brian Vaughn. I'm going to start giving out nicknames to everybody like Trump does. Start calling Brian from Bourbon School Neck Poor Believer Brian Fisher. I always say that because Brian and I always give each other a hard time. He's a neck poor believer. I'm not. So we like to jab at each other about that, all in good fun, of course. So I'm going to get into this Kings County 15-year, 132.3 proof banger first, just because I've had this. I know what this tastes like. On this one, I get a ton of honey, like a Bit-O honey candy, like light caramel and honey. Definitely different than a bourbon. I think light whiskey also is aged in used casks. Let's see, 14 years in used charred oak barrels. So there you go. I don't know for sure what the legal parameters of aging a light whiskey, if it's like corn whiskey where it has to be either used charred or new uncharred. But this one in particular is used charred barrels. So, on the nose, very similar. Yeah. I would say almost there's a little bit more of a darker oak presence on the Kings County. Let me put this over here because that banner's right there. Definitely has that Bit-O honey sort of note to it. Myron, if you're still in the chat, let me know what the light whiskey that you really like is. I know Myron's a huge old Carter fan, and I believe it's that one, and I think he just got a hold of a Penelope light whiskey as well, because Penelope just released a high-aged light whiskey. Yeah, these two are very similar, so I think that the Obtainium is probably a pretty good representation of what light whiskey is like. Unless, of course, this was also sourced from MGP, and then they're probably, very similar. Let's get into it. Cheers. Whew! Every bit of that 132.3 proof shows up on the palate. Good Lord. It's interesting because this is such like a flavor-wise, they're very bright flavors. And so it almost, kind of makes you think it's going to be a, pun absolutely intended, I guess, lighter whiskey. Just meaning that it doesn't have like those dark, deep. It's very rich, but they're not like those, dark, brown sugar and charred oak. And let's see, I like the King's Family Distillery 15-year light whiskey so much I bought a backup bottle. I get peach cobbler off of it. Okay, interesting. Peach is not a note that I typically get off of bourbons. I've heard other people say that. It's interesting. That's a good topic of conversation. Let me know in the chat here. Are there certain tasting notes that are common that other people get that you just absolutely never get? Like, for the most part, I just never get apple off of bourbon. I know that's somewhat common. Common enough. And I just never get that off of bourbon. I never used to get honey, and I do every once in a while, and I think I didn't get it until after I had the light whiskey. Eric Ellis, what's happening? Welcome. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to... Yeah, the Obtainium is brighter. Kings County's got a little bit more of a barrel char to it. I'm going to another sip of this bad boy. I just remembered I do have to leave a little bit in the glasses here for the blend. Show me the proof. What's happening? Cheers. So, yeah, I'm not getting the peach, but I'm getting... This is, like, overwhelmingly sweet. And when I say overwhelmingly, I don't mean in a bad way. That's just my adjective of choice for saying it's very, very sweet. Yeah, tons of that honey. That's just the main... kind of the main event here with this one. Which I recall being kind of the main thing with this one, too. Peach apricot from New Holland Dragon's Milk Origin Bourbon. Apricot, I think I may have gotten that, Dave, off of the Dragon's Milk Origin as well. I remember that one being on the fruitier side. I think Brian and Marie-Ann just did one within the last few weeks here that was very... Marie-Ann said it was very apricot-y. Apricot-y. That's a word. You know what? Now this one's actually nosing a little closer to a bourbon. Dragon's Milk, peaches, and apricots. Okay, so Brian's with you on that as well. Yeah, I remember when I did the review of that. It was definitely different, and it had sort of an interesting... I think that's the one I got that fruit note off of. I never get chocolate. When some people get chocolate, I usually get coffee, which is kind of close. Yeah, I mean, I think you wouldn't look at it like, you know, chocolate and coffee is comparable in real life for the necessarily, but when you compare the two of them in like tasting bourbon notes, it's like it's a note that's on the darker side, you know, like coffee, tobacco, chocolate, brown sugar, those kind of things. And so sometimes I think when you get that, you know, those kind of deeper, richer, darker notes, they kind of manifest themselves in a different way to different people, I think. And so sometimes what somebody is saying might be an apricot note to them might be a honey note to me. But in real life, you would never compare honey to apricots. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Definitely less oak on the Obtainium. I actually think I like the King's Family better. And I like the Obtainium here. Interesting, I had a cigar with this one night, which typically, like, whiskeys that I would think would pair well with a cigar, like cigar blend whiskeys, are heavily finished. They usually have those, they're finished in, like, you know, cognac and sherry and stuff like that gives it kind of a deeper, darker, richer flavor. This having these, like, bright candy flavors, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and the cigar actually brought out a really, really nice taste out of this light whiskey. Dumb question, how do you highlight somebody's name when you reply to them? I have no idea. Eric, I've been doing this YouTube thing for years, and I literally have no idea. I have asked other people that, and I don't know. But I know what you're talking about. Like, you can put their @ in there, but I see on other people's channels, like when I'm in the chat watching a live stream, it'll say, like, their name in, like, a little rectangle. There's, like, a little box that their name is in. And I have no idea how to do that. If somebody could put that in the chat, you would be doing Eric and me a big favor. Dave Renstrom, I have a 7-year single barrel rye pick from New Holland. It's like a peach milkshake IPA. Good Lord. That sounds like a interesting combination. Yeah, this is interesting. Killed a little bit too much of that Obtainium. I do have to save it for the blend. I sip the Ron Diaz between my Coors Light pounders for a good pick-me-up. And what do you mean the home wrecker? Ron Diaz is smooth. Oh, a home wrecker is just what I call a 175, the big bottle. I just call those home wreckers. I think that's a southern Minnesota thing. I'm originally from a town called Waseca, and I feel like, I mean, I lived there until I was in like end of 7th grade. But every time I would go back and visit friends when we got older, I feel like they call that, I think that's where I picked that up, the term home wrecker for the 175. Some people call it a handle. What's the other terminology for that? Okay, you have to at them. Okay, can somebody do that? Let's see. Yeah, can somebody do that? Brian's over here with the moderator wrench getting out of control. With great power comes great responsibility, Brian. All right, folks, you know that anytime I have more than one whiskey on the bar, we got to do the blend. I didn't save any of these Hartman's Distillings in the glasses, so I'll just pour a little bit in each one of these. It worked on my end, Eric. All right, I'm going to look at my phone because it may look different to me on here. All right, hold on just a second. This is me learning how to use YouTube, which it's very apparent that I obviously do not know how to use YouTube. I'm not seeing anybody's... Canadian Chris, unsubscribing. Hey, way to go, Brian. You're losing me subscribers. Let's see. What is the total of your blend tonight in octane? Well, we've got 200 proof with the two Hartman's Distilleries. And then both of these are 130. So we got like 460 and some change. If you follow Bourbon Note math. Okay, so he just put... yeah, Brian, that didn't work. You put spaces in the at. You can't do that. At screw this. I need to drink whiskey. Eric Ellis and I both with the inability to... you know what? Now I have to watch back from 5 seconds ago when I poured this to see which one I poured. That's how bad I am at this. Okay. At the Bourbon Note. Okay, now we got to see if this works too. Nope, it just says at the Bourbon Note. This is not working at all. Maybe it's the capital letters that are doing it? I don't know. No, Ryan Frank, that's not for real. I don't know what the proof of this would be. I guess you would have to... Would you have to total them all up and then just average it, I guess, to figure out what the proof is? We always used to joke, it was an ongoing Greg joke, that anytime we had more than one bourbon when we do the blend, we would just add up all the proofs together. And son of a bitch, now I lost track of this again. Okay, I got this one. And we would just add them all up and say that that's what the proof was. But I thought you said one was 200. Oh, no, these are both 100. So the two Hartman's Distilling would be 200 together. I mean, technically 200 is the highest proof you could go to. 100% alcohol. Need volumes of each to be accurate. Yeah, I mean, if you do just a... Here's more old school Bourbon Note math. If you did a 50% blend, so 50% of this, 50% of this, 50% of this, 50% of this. That was our way of saying we were doing equal parts. Which I do realize that's, that would be 25%, but that was the joke. OG Brick with the Patreon link. Thanks, brother. Yeah, by the way, for the Patreon drawing tonight, I'm going to do 3 more samples just because I think this is fun. Of these, this was a really fun video to do these Elijah Craigs that are finished with aging spires. So I'm going to send out 3 more samples of this. So I'll include a link to the video that I did on these. So for those of you that didn't see the video, I took 3 Elijah Craig small batches and I put barrel aging spires of different kinds in each one of them. One of them is an Amberana finish, which it is definitely Amberana finished for sure on the flavor. One of them is toasted French oak, and one of them is American oak char level 3. So I think it's fun to be able to send these out because then people can try these and compare it to a regular, go get a mini bottle of regular Elijah Craig small batch and see what each spire did to it. And then, you can, for like $15 online, you can buy that 3-pack of aging spires. And then, if you like what it did to the Elijah Craig, you take one of those and put it in a bottle that you really like or something like that. So I think this is a fun way to experiment with something that's actually attainable, but different, So the Patreon drawing tonight will be for a 3-pack sample pack of these. And check it out, you guys. I got new little bourbon note boxes to put samples in. It's actually just a black box that I put a bourbon note sticker on. But still, I'm excited because these fit samples nicely. So anyway, that's coming up towards the end of the live stream here. We'll get into that. It's Patreon only or $5 super chat. I don't expect people to chime in with the super chat, but okay, let's get into the blend here. Also, there will be more Patreon content coming up in the next couple months. Some new stuff. This is really interesting, actually. It's you still get the honey vibes from the light whiskeys, but the bourbons kind of balance it out a little bit, which is cool. All right, let's get into this one. These blends don't always work. This one's not bad, but I feel like bourbon on its own and light whiskey on its own is maybe the ticket. I'm sure there are some, well, I know there are some whiskeys out there that are a blend of light whiskeys and bourbons. This particular blend is good, but I think that these were better on their own, which sometimes happens with the blend. I saw a list earlier today that had I was looking up I was looking up after I saw this. It was like a post somewhere, and it was like the top 50 bourbons in the world, and number 50 was Hill Rock Solera Age, which I think there's 50 before that. But number 49 was Benchmark Small Batch, which I was kind of surprised. I feel like in the flooded market of bourbon, there are a lot of meh ones, but I think there's 49 that are better than that one for sure. There has to be, right? I mean, I know picking 49 bourbons is a lot, but. And then I saw one where it was the top whiskeys in the world, or top bourbons in the world. Woodford Reserve, the regular one, was number 2, behind Pappy Van Winkle. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. OG Brick with the links for the small batches. All right. Let's see. I'm catching up on some chats here. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. We talked about this. Bourbon School did a video about single barrels because I saw a couple of posts about single barrels. And I do have that. I haven't done this in a while just because I haven't found a single barrel that I want to do this video with. But I have that reoccurring series on here called Batch versus Barrel, where I get a single barrel, say a Elijah Craig small batch single barrel, and then pit it against the regular Elijah Craig. See which one's better, the single barrel or the batch product. I have found, I think more often than not, that the batch product has been winning those, except for the Evan Williams single barrel. But the difference with that one is the single barrels are aged 8 years, whereas the regular Evan Williams is 4 years. That was extremely noticeable in that video. So my question is this. I think, like I said, I think Bourbon School did a video, are single barrels always better? And I would say no. I don't think you can definitively say yes or no because they're single barrels. They're going to vary. But what I have noticed in doing those videos is apparently there are some single barrels that are just beloved and automatically people just assume they're better, and then some that people don't care about. Like I did the Elijah Craig one, and I think that was a batch versus barrel versus batch. So I did the regular small batch versus a store pick versus the PGA one. And I think the store pick came in last, but nobody cared. But then I did Old Forester 100 store pick versus regular Old Forester 100, and the regular Old Forester 100 won, and everybody got pissed. Nobody could believe it. So, like, is that just a preconceived notion, or did you end up getting the Crown Royal single barrel? I love that one. I picked up. I don't drink Crown Royal unless it's mixed with Coke. Do you drink the Crown Royal single barrel with Coke? No, I did not, because I haven't been back to that store. That place is about an hour and a half from here. But I talked to my friend Alyssa up at Spirits Liquor, my favorite liquor store in Minnesota, and she had done a pick years ago, and she was kind of under the impression that that was the only round of picks that came through Minnesota, so that bottle might be a dusty one that's been sitting on the shelf for a while. And so, I definitely, with all the feedback I've gotten from that, I've literally gotten nothing but absolutely go pick that one up. And I think, so the reason I brought up that it might have been sitting there for a while and is because like some of the people that were from Minnesota that have said, I had one of those, it was great, it might be the same pick. And so I definitely might want to go pick one of those up. But folks, guess what? We have a special guest for the last 20 minutes of the stream here, which is good because I was just about running out of steam. I threw that single barrel question out there because I didn't know what else to talk about. So, folks, may I have the attention of the class from Bourbon School? We've got Brian in the house.
What's up, Ben? How's it going?
Good. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. I had to quickly throw this together. When the studio is not the studio, it is the Gentleman's Bourbon Lounge down here. So I had to slide some chairs around and stuff, but here we are.
I hear you, because this is my actual, you've seen the behind the scenes of my bar down here, right? Yeah. So this actually is, my normal home bar. Not that we use it a ton, but I'm kind of a neat freak, so I like to clean up after myself. So I don't like to leave clutter and all this filming and lights and stuff sitting around here. So I definitely have the same thing.
Brian thinks I'm crazy because I take it all down and put the chairs back out and stuff. But I don't know. I just don't like it like you. I don't like it being a mess and all discombobulated. And it is a nice place. We come down here and turn the lights down and have a pour, and it's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see.
So
hold on a second.
I went with Hartman's also.
Okay.
So this is another stout finished one. So New York Beer Project is Western New York. They've got a couple of places in Western New York. They're beautiful, big breweries, restaurants, but they did a thing where they took the Hartman's, bourbon and then finished it in some of their stout barrels. So I really like this one. This is a good one.
So is that the same thing that I'm drinking?
I think because didn't yours say experimental or something?
Experimental Series 2.
Yeah, and I think those were ones that they put out. They put those out at the distillery, and they were little 375. So they were different. This was one, I forget what store had this, but it's weird. I had another one. This one I haven't opened, but it's not great. So Ellicottville's another brewery, and this one's finished in chocolate cherry bomb imperial stout barrels. But
okay, nice.
It's got a lot of cherry cough syrup flavor to it. I'm not a huge fan of this one. But it was weird. This one was available at only one store. This was available at another store. So I don't know how they work it, but these special ones you can only get at a store. So,
nice.
But I do like what they do. Even though it's MGP, like I said, I think they've got their own stuff coming, or maybe it's already been out. I haven't been up there in a while, but it's a cool place. They got a cool bar. I like their bottles, the Hartman's up the side and everything.
Cool. It's embossed in there.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You can't really see it very good, but they got Hartman's embossed right on the side of the bottle. They're nice.
Okay. And did you say that one stout finished too?
Yeah, they're both. This one's regular stout finish, and then that other one that I'm not a fan of. This is chocolate cherry bomb stout, which is,
Okay.
I mean, this
Which
Ellicottville
gives you that
Brewery,
cough syrup.
that's one of their famous, one of their more popular beers, but it didn't translate well in the bourbon.
Okay. So Ryan Frank, I've met Kirby Puckett in real life, and he looked too perfect, almost uncomprehensive to be real from all of my childhood memories. Ben has that same effect in real life. TBN, just to respect. Ryan Frank, I love you, brother. It was good seeing you this last weekend.
Kirby,
that's awesome.
A pretty good get, meeting Kirby Puckett, man.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially for a Minnesota kid.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, Kirby was one of those, baseball players that was like, nationally famous.
Yes.
But so when you got one of those guys on your team, it's especially,
he was always such
deal.
a happy guy. Like he just never, even when he was playing and competing, he just always was smiling and laughing. He was fun to watch for sure.
Well, in that epic Game 6 home run, I don't know how big into baseball you are. I'm not huge into baseball, but I mean, that was when I was a kid and I was super into baseball. Yep. That first 1987 World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals, that's when they unveiled the Homer Hanky, and that was a big deal. The Homer Hanky. It was like a thing that the whole crowd would like. So I wanted to get one super bad. There's this place in town that I grew up in called Thompson's Boathouse. It's still there. It's not the original. The original burnt down. But they had it was like a bar, and then they had an arcade in the basement, but then they had trading cards there. They had a trading card booth because that was back in 1987 when trading cards, baseball cards, were huge.
Yeah.
And I remember I rode my bike up there one day and they had the Homer Hanky, and I was so freaking excited, and I ended up being able to get one, and it was just the best thing. And I remember I know the Kirby Puckett home run was in the 91 World Series, but
right.
Yeah, just that time, 87 to 91, and that whole run of Twins players was just.
I feel like everybody loved the Twins at that time. They had a team of a bunch of lovable guys. People.
Yeah.
Everybody was rooting for them.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, I was a kid. That was 1987, so I was in third grade.
Yeah.
Or second, third grade. So baseball was so cool. I was super into it, and yeah, that was a time, man. Let's see. And the home run coming after that catch against the plexiglass. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Dave's a fellow Minnesotan as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that was. It's funny. We so I've got you, Brian. You're aware of the Brown Tree. That's the garage bar I have out in the garage here. So we've got a TV out there, and so in the summertime, when we're hanging out there, we like to have something on the TV, and so. I think at one time we were out there just hanging out, and there was no baseball on or anything. And so we just went on YouTube and put on Game 7 of the 1991 World Series, and just watched the whole game. And it's funny because I remember that game was won in extra innings. It was 0-0 going into extra innings, and it was won on a base hit from Gene Larkin. And I remember that kind of being, I remember that game kind of back in the day. Yeah, Jack Morris, 10 innings. There you go. Didn't he kind of famously, they were going to come out and pull him, and he basically told them no, from the mound or something like that, if I remember correctly?
I don't know that story, but I bet you Dave knows.
Yeah, he might. But I remember that game, you think about a 0-0 game going into extra innings. It sounds like it would be a boring game. But upon rewatching that game, the defensive plays in that game, it was just as exciting because it was just crazy defensive play at one after another, Oh,
there,
and Ozzy's backflip.
He come out, Jack Morris.
Let's see, he refused. Yeah, I think in the 8th inning. Okay, yeah, I do remember that. Is that Ozzie Smith for the Cardinals?
Yes.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith. Okay.
Yeah. I have the same thing. I'm a Dodgers fan, so I have the same thing with Game 1 of the '88 World Series. That's where Kirk Gibson hit his home run, and I will just put that on in the background. I all summer long I'll watch baseball, and it's nice because the Dodgers are on late most of the time, 10:30 here, and so the house is quiet, it's warm and outside, got the the windows open and there's a breeze coming in and like just the baseball game on. So, like it's like the soundtrack of summer. I watch baseball all summer long. I mean, mostly the Dodgers, but I'll watch other stuff. But that game 1 of the '88 World Series is like one of those ones that like I'll like just put on once in a while to watch because it was incredible.
You just rewatched the whole game?
Oh yeah.
Some of those are good. So when I'm out, you're probably not going to like this. Now I know the Bills aren't your number 1 team. Are you a Niners fan?
I'm a Niners fan. Yeah, I got that from my dad for no real reason.
Okay.
He's not from California, but he just grew up liking the 49ers. So
big Joe Montana fan, maybe, and just
yeah.
Well, I suppose if he grew up watching, that would be pretty.
I grew up with Joe Montana, and like I will fully admit, it was pretty easy to be a Niners fan at that time because you know they had Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie
Rice.
I mean, they were incredible. So.
Ryan Frank says baseball on TV with the garage door open is summer. Yep, 100%. Yeah, and that's why we like doing it out there because we would always have like some sort of baseball game on. Yeah, Dave says, Dave, don't remind me. The 91 World Series was our last title in the major 4 sports, not including the Lynx titles.
Yeah, I don't think the WNBA counts.
I don't think it does either. So when I'm out, grilling or something like that, and I want to throw some sports on, you know how you can go on YouTube, I don't know if you ever do this, and you can watch like a condensed game. Like the NFL will put out basically like a game, but it puts all the important key plays, and it's like 20 minutes long or 20 minutes long. And the amount of times I have put on that Vikings-Bills game what is it? What's the stadium that the Bills play in? What's it called again?
Oh, the one right now? Well, it used to be Rich Stadium, New Era. Now we're New Era Field.
New Era, okay.
Highmark Stadium. Highmark Stadium.
Highmark, okay. But you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, was that the game of the century? Just the craziness that ensued with that game?
Yep. They talk about it here. I mean, there's a few games like that. That Tennessee Titans game, the Minnesota game, the comeback game against the Raiders when freaking Frank Reich was playing quarterback. I mean, there's been legendary games, legendary wins and losses, and they talk about the losses too, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You know what's funny about that? So if you remember, like what really set that comeback in motion, well, maybe not set it in motion, but kept it alive, was like the pinnacle play was the Justin Jefferson catch.
Yes.
Do you remember that? He went up with one hand and caught it and basically peeled it out of the guy's 2 hands. And I mean, one of the best catches in the history of the NFL. If you go back and rewatch that, which I've done 1 billion times, that catch took place. It was 4th and 18, game on the line. If they don't get a first down here, the game is over.
Right.
And that catch came out literally 2 seconds after they said, we welcome in our affiliates who just finished watching the whatever game. You know how they'll switch over broadcast?
Yeah.
That was the first play that those viewers saw. When they chimed into that game, it was 4th and 18, game on the line, and the Vikings were down. And that was the first play that took place after they merged the 2 broadcasts. And it's just unbelievable timing.
It was like 17 points or 20 points they were down or something, right? Like
at that point, they had started making a comeback, but at one point in the game it was. So my wife and I were watching that game. I was furious. Just watching this game, and she's like, oh, God, we're getting blown out by the Bills. And one of my good friends is a I can't say a diehard. He's a diehard Bills fan now. He's a diehard bandwagon Bills fan. And I hope he watches this and hears me say that. So I can I will shit on the Bills forever just because one of my close friends loves them. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how that works. You know?
Oh, of course.
And I do it because he jumped on the Bills bandwagon as soon as they became good with Josh Allen. Like he was a Vikings fan before that. And then now he shits all over the Vikings. Like last year he sent me in the playoffs, he sent me a meme, and it was somebody looking disappointed, and it said Vikings fans when their team disappoints them in the playoffs again or something like that. I'm like, dude, you're a Bills fan. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
Like he acts like like the Bills are some Super Bowl dynasty or something. It's like, dude, the Bills have botched just as many playoff opportunities as the Vikings have.
It is like, it's got to be. I mean, so I root, like I always say to people, like, you can't live in Western New York all your life and not root for the Bills. Like, it's just such a part of the lifestyle here. So I am not a Bills hater. I root for the Bills. I like to see them win. I'd love for them to win a Super Bowl. This place is going to go nuts when they finally win their Super Bowl. Like, this whole region is going to just be like calling off of work for a week. So
Vikings
I'm
too
for that. But yeah, I mean, it seems as though there have been a bunch of people who have jumped on the bandwagon over the years from all over the country. Like the Bills are like America's team. And I mean, I know it because like what you said, they've never won a Super Bowl, like, but it's just, I don't know, there's something people identify with them or whatever. And they, I hope they do it. I hope they get one in the next couple of years. I mean, this is their best chance. I think Josh Allen is way better than Jim Kelly ever was. So I'm hoping like they got a window of probably 3 or 4 more years. They got to do it. I hope they do.
Solely because of my friend Dan, I hope they never win a Super Bowl. Bourbon Rendezvous. Ron, what's happening, man? I haven't seen you in the chat in forever.
Hey, what's up, Ron? Did you ever see the X-Files?
Oh,
Were you an X-Files fan?
No, that was one, like I was in high school when that was around, and honestly, I didn't watch a lot of shows back then. And it was one of those shows that I always liked in principle, like the idea of it, but I never got into it.
So the cigarette smoking man is like this dark, shadowy figure who like works for some secret government organization and pulls all the strings. And there's an episode where they're talking about his history and stuff. And there's a scene where they're plotting all these things, like the results of elections, who's going to get assassinated, all this stuff. And they're like, what about the Super Bowl this year? And he looks at the guy, he's like, the Bills never win a Super Bowl ever. And so now that's like, it's like a curse here, the curse of the cigarette smoking man.
That's awesome.
The Bills are never going to be destined to win.
Well, you know what's funny about that is like, obviously Josh Allen's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And again, my friend was a Vikings fan, and then he just jumped onto the Bills bandwagon, and we give him so much shit for it. And he jumped onto the bandwagon, and they still have not made it to a Super Bowl yet, but he acts like they've been winning Super Bowls since he started, and he hates Kirk Cousins. It's maybe one of the reasons he bailed on the Vikings. Now, Kirk did not do great in the playoffs or whatever, but overall, stats-wise, he was a great quarterback. You can't deny some of that stuff. And he started kind of balling out towards the end there before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But like when the Bills lost that game, Josh Allen threw 2 interceptions in the end zone and fumbled. All he had to do was get out of the end zone, and the game's over. He fumbled in the end zone, dropped a snap leading to a touchdown, which put the Vikings up.
Yeah.
Like if Kirk and all I heard from Bills fans on the internet and from my friend was like, "Oh, that was a fluke. The Vikings didn't deserve to win that game. It was a fluke. This, and that." It's like, so you mean to tell me if Kirk Cousins had done those same things, you would say it was just a fluke? No, they would be talking about what a trash quarterback he is and how he always chokes and whatever. And it's just like, it's that double standard is why I will always root against the Bills now. And
that's
before
like
all of this
versus as Bobby Heenan used to say, a ham and egger. Like the superstars always get the benefit of the doubt. Like here in Buffalo, we hear it about Patrick Mahomes all the time. And so like I know exactly what you're saying because I'm so sick of hearing about all the excuses for Patrick Mahomes when he screws up. But
yeah, exactly. So it's just funny. Like I honestly, I would have been like, I'm a diehard Vikings fan, so I will never ever root for any other team, but I can appreciate when other teams, like I would have been on the Bills side if the Vikings are out of it, I would have been like, I'm rooting for the Bills because I get it as a Vikings fan. I get how Bills fans feel. And then my buddy just ruined it. And like same thing with the Lions, like if they weren't in our division, Like I can vibe with the Lions because they've been terrible for so long. I get that their fans like deserve something. It just sucks that, you know, Aaron Rodgers leaves the division and now the Lions are just crushing it. We'll see how JJ McCarthy does.
My wife is listening.
Let's
says,
check
"Those
some
mistakes
chats
were
here."
from Josh dealing with his trashy ex's drama. He
Okay,
just
let
didn't
me
have
see,
the
what
right
is-
woman on his side.
Let's see. My wife. What does it say? My wife is listening. Oh, I lost it. Those mistakes were from Josh dealing with this trashy ex's drama. Who was his trashy ex?
I think it was a girl he went to school with, or I don't even remember. But his wife now she's a class act, and she is a dime. It's hard to say that.
Is she the singer?
She Haley Steinfeld, she was an actress. So you know who she is, and this is why it's hard to be like, ooh, she's hot, because she's like the young girl from the Western. Somebody in the chat remind me of the Western that Haley Steinfeld was in. It was like a remake. I don't think it was High Noon. Or
Oh, the one with Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, is it High Noon?
No, it's shit, now I can't think of it either.
But she was like the girl. And now she's
Yeah.
like all grown up, and she's absolutely gorgeous. She's in that new movie Sinners, which is supposed to be great. My daughter just watched it and said it was awesome.
I keep hearing stuff about that, but I haven't seen anything about it. Torab Hodel, Chris and Anthony Carter were the glory days. You damn right. Chris Carter kind of spanned a couple of glory days, and Chris Carter is a legend, obviously, but True Grit, there you go.
That's it.
Anthony Carter, 80 and 81.
Yep.
Chris Carter, Anthony Carter, and then Chris Carter overlapped with Moss.
Yep. Who was there like in that run? Who was their running back? It wasn't Herschel Walker, right? He was only there for a little bit.
He was only here for like a year. Why can't I think of it?
Robert Smith?
Rob Smith, I think, was. Well, are you talking during the Moss Carter years?
Like
Because Rob
Moss
Smith
and
was.
Carter.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it wasn't Carter and Carter when Rob Smith was around.
Yeah.
Moss, the original troll before Trump. Yeah, Randy Moss is like, that's funny because like he was such an exciting player to watch, and he was like such a superstar for a team. But he did, you know, they always say he kind of like became a pariah in his own locker room, and we kind of got tired of like the off the field antics from him. Like I remember there was one time he didn't run this woman over, but there was like a traffic cop trying to like stop his car, and he just like pushed her, and like she ended up on the hood of his car. Like it was like a big news story around here, which is funny because I was next to him on the freeway one time after that, and I knew it was him because I recognized his car from that news story, or vice versa. I can't remember, but I remember I was next to that. It was like a green Cadillac, said Moss 84 on the license plate, and I was like next to him, and there was like, hey, he waved back. Thank you, Buffalo, for Jake Reed in 98. Yeah, there you go. Brian, would you be so kind as to... Robert Smith was the main running back in the mid to late 90s. That's
Okay.
right. Okay, so he was... I remember him being there in the mid 90s. So he was in the 98 season. Okay. All right, hold on one second. Do you want to entertain the internet for just a second while I get my live raffle thing going here?
Absolutely. So in the chat, I want to know, like, let's get an obscure player from your team that you loved. Like when I was a kid, I guess this isn't too obscure, but like the 49ers, it was Tom Rathman. He was not like the star of the show, but boy, that guy could play. He like was tough as hell, paved the road for Roger Craig. So he was always my favorite guy. It was like kind of an unsung hero. What's an unsung hero from your team? From like, let's say 80s or 90s, because that's like my heyday when I was a kid. Oh, tore up Jerome Bettis, the boss. He was a beast.
The boss.
Could you imagine
funny
the boss running at you and trying to tackle that dude? Like, holy smokes. I'd be running out of the way. I'd just be like, go ahead, sir, and just do a little Olay and let him right by, because that guy, and he just always, he was the guy who was always smiling, like in interviews and stuff, but he just looked like
for sure.
The meanest guy when he was out there running. You did not want him coming at you. But I love like naming or like thinking or remembering these guys from like when I was in high school or even grade school that like are unsung heroes, but like you just totally forget about them, like forgotten players. But man, like
I was a Leo Lewis fan.
I think Jerome Bettis is more like a superstar though, for sure.
I was a Leo Lewis fan back in the day. He was like running back, wide receiver.
Okay.
For the Vikings. Do you know here's kind of a funny story. So my dad took me to my very first Vikings game ever. It was a game against the Green Bay Packers. It was Jerry Burns' final game as coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Jerry Burns, legendary coach of the Vikings.
Right.
And so we went to that, and I think it was a year where I think we might have already been eliminated, so it wasn't a big game on the line or anything, but I'd never been to a Vikings game, and he took me. And the Vikings got routed by the Packers in that game. The Vikings only scored one touchdown. It was Terry Allen. I can't remember if he was a running back or what. He wasn't
I think Terry Allen was a running back. I remember him.
Yeah. And so, and I was probably in like fifth grade, maybe sixth. I can't remember what year it was. Anyway, at the end of the game, we went over to the stairs by where the tunnel where the team goes in. And I was kind of leaning over trying to get high fives from the players. And Terry Allen gave me his gloves that he was wearing during the game.
That's awesome.
And so for years I had these, they caught the only touchdown of that game. So years later, my dad and his brother are at a Vikings game. This is literally just a few years later. I mean, a few years ago. And they were at a Vikings game, and they had some the old school Vikings players there. And Leo Lewis was one of my favorite players back when I was a kid. And my dad and I used to my dad would play catch with me and throw the football for me to I remember I used to run down in the basement and I would dive onto the couch and he'd throw the football so I could do a diving catch, So we would play Anthony Carter, and then he would call me little Leo Lewis, and make a good catch. And so I these really fond memories of that.
Yeah.
And so Leo Lewis was always kind of one of my favorite players. And so Leo Lewis was at the game that my dad was at, and he was signing autographs. So my dad's like, I got to get a autograph for my son. And so he goes and he buys a hat. So he had something to get signed. And he takes it to Leo Lewis, and he asks him to sign it, but he tells him this story. He said, yeah, my son and I took him to his first Vikings game, and you caught the only touchdown pass during that game. And he's like, yeah, it was the last game that Jerry Burns coached. And he said Leo Lewis was kind of yeah, I don't really remember that. And he's like, I mean, I remember that game well, but I remember we lost that game, and I don't remember. I don't think I caught a touchdown pass. He's like, oh, yeah, you did. And then afterwards, you gave my son your gloves. And he kept them, he was so excited, and he kept them all the way into his adulthood. And my dad convinced him that he had caught a touchdown pass. I have a Vikings hat upstairs in my closet that is autographed by Leo Lewis, and it says, Ben, hang on to those gloves.
Nice.
From Leo Lewis. And my dad is all excited to give me this hat that he got autographed. And he goes, look, now you've got his gloves and his hat. And I was like, Dad, it was Terry Allen that gave me his gloves, not Leo Lewis. And it wasn't until after I mentioned it, he goes, oh my God, I had a whole conversation with him about this. And he didn't remember catching a touchdown in that game at all. I just figured, his memory was slipping or something. So now I have a very cool piece of memorabilia that is autographed from Leo Lewis about an interaction with another Viking that he had nothing to do with. And I think he actually, I think he actually misspelled hang too. I think it says hand on to those gloves, like a
nice
little typo or whatever. So that it's kind of like having an error card, when you used to collect cards. if there was like a mistake on the card, they were worth more. It's like I've got an error autograph hat from Leo Lewis of the Vikings, and I love it. It's so much cooler to me just having that story.
Great, that should be in the Hall of Fame. They should be together in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I was thinking about poor Leo Lewis on the way home from that. He's like, God damn, do I need to go to a doctor or like get checked out or something like that?
I'm sure. I don't remember that at all.
I hope to God he just immediately like looked up the stats from that game and realized my dad was wrong and it wasn't just his memory failing.
Acknowledge Torup's Chili Davis reference.
Bowl
Davis.
Chili Bowl Davis. I
love it. He likes Chili Davis, second string guy, but that was Twins and Angels guy. I love it. Absolutely love it. Somebody said Sterling Sharp. Dave Anderchuk. I have a Dave Anderchuk card with Scott Arneal on the back. Those are Sabres players.
Okay.
I did not know that was a error card. That's cool.
The story is more valuable than the hat. Absolutely it is. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just got here and we're talking about Leo, dangerous Leo Lewis. Yes, we are. Mike Meyer, welcome. Mike Meyer, also fellow Minnesotan. This is so much more of a lighthearted conversation than the last one we had together.
Yeah, this is a little bit lighter.
Yeah, dude, before we get out of here, Ben might remember Jim Kleinsasser, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He could block
he was
anyone.
End, right?
Or
fullback?
No. What? Damn it, now I can't remember.
Now I got.
Yeah, he was I think he was a tight end. I think he was a tight end. I'm pretty sure.
Jim, football tight end, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Kleinsasser. We had one redheaded guy on the Jim Kelly teams. Pete Metzlars was his name, and this guy was like a freaking. He was like a Viking giant. He was enormous.
Nice.
Like freckles, bright red hair, this mustache that went like this. But he was a good player.
That's awesome. Oh, fullback. Okay. Fullback, tight end. Okay. Let's see. Still no one with name that song about Warren Moon throws an interception. Is that from Warren Moon's tenure at the Vikings, Torup? Is that like something from the KQ Morning Show? So before we get out of here, Brian, one thing I noticed. So when Matt sent us that text,
yes,
about the viewership on that last live stream, Chuck Knobloch. So it said like within the first, it was the next night, wasn't it, that he sent that?
Yeah, it was the next day.
Okay. And it was like 5,300 views.
Yes.
I went back and looked, and so I went and looked immediately. Old-fashioned ways, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Doc?
And so I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh my God, sure enough, there's like 5,300 views on here. It's crazy. Because our viewership is normally like, even after the live stream is like 100 some, couple hundred maybe.
Right.
Listening, but working on some samples. Well, good to have you here, man. But then I went back and looked like 2 days later, and then it said 4,300.
Yes, it's at 4,300 now, and I can't for the life of me figure out how they calculate live stream views. Like, I don't either. Yeah, I don't either. But
it's weird.
It definitely.
I've never seen a viewer count go down.
Yes.
After the fact.
Yeah, I don't know. I can look. I mean, I haven't looked at like the YouTube studio for it, but I really don't know how it works. But I noticed that right away because when he sent us that video, the text, it was, like you said, 5,200 or something.
Myron says in the comments 5,300 with a question mark. Myron, YouTube is the same thing to one of my shorts. Okay.
Yeah, but on the studio, see, now it's
Randy Bush.
That's what she said.
4.3K total. When I click on it, it says views since published 4.1. So all I can assume is that we had 200 views while it was being watched, but that doesn't seem right either.
Because you can see the view count when it's being watched.
I don't know. I really don't know. But like our views, the views for that really, I mean, we had 4,070 views on July 11th, which was the next day.
How is that possible? I thought we were going to get like
I have
it shot. He said it shot up beyond 1,000, then went down to 400. That's so weird. Like, how does that even happen? I don't know if I've ever noticed that happening before.
But
like, okay, so even so, it's still holding strong at 4,300 now. Like, I honestly thought that because of the content of that stream, that we were going to get. But I suppose a lot of people are talking about that now. So if YouTube, their little bots, here you're talking about Epstein's list. Well, here, this is going to get views. Put it out there.
Well, and that's why I asked, because like I didn't tag it with that. So I like the YouTube AI must just push it out because they analyze the video and hear it. I really don't know, but it got out there somehow.
Yeah. Ryan Frank, I want to know how much money you two son of a guns have collected from YouTube. Not much at all.
Enough to buy like a bottle a month, if that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, legitimately, if that. Let me see. Let's look at this month's earnings on
I'll do the same.
Just to show you, like, so in the last month, $45. And that includes like
you get more views
if there's if somebody puts in a $10 super chat, that's included in that.
Oh, right. Ours is $12.44, y'all. That's this month's revenue.
So like most the videos, like the last like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 videos they display here range anywhere from they've made 72 cents to $2.63. And the $2.63 is the most watched video I've had in a while.
All right.
So
all right.
To give a perspective, like that's a good return. I mean, there's some that I've made more on.
Yeah.
But they've been out for years.
Right.
And it's our most popular video. So our most popular video that's been out for 3 years, I think has total in 3 years made like $70.
Some hunt video you did in 2023.
That's absolutely what it was. It was a hunt video from, I think, 2023.
Yep. Yeah. And
Ben is loaded
on the dollar. That's why, like, a lot of us start Patreons and stuff, because it's you don't really make anything from YouTube, and it does. I mean, there's expenses that go into this, so Patreon's really helpful. So check out Ben's Patreon and give him a sub.
And check out Bourbon School's Patreon.
Yeah, everybody. I know Myron's got. I think all of us, all 5 of us on Whiskey 6 have one. So check them out. It definitely helps defray the cost a little bit, but then even Patreon takes their cut too.
Well, so here's the thing with Patreon. So if you subscribe to, so when you give a super chat, so let's break this down for the audience real quick.
Yeah.
And I'll use $10 just to make it a good round number. So when you send a $10 super chat to somebody on YouTube takes 30% of that. Mm-hmm. So YouTube takes $3 right off of the top of that, leaving you with $7. Mm-hmm. If you send that super chat from an Apple device, you're sending it through Apple Pay. Apple Pay takes 30% of what's left. So 30% of your 70. So it's almost 60% of what. Yep. So you send a $10 super chat, I might get $4.50 from that.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, on Patreon, Apple just started doing this too. That's why I despise Apple as a company.
Yes.
They made it so where if you subscribe to someone's Patreon, you have to do it through Apple Pay. And so now, when you go to Patreon and you subscribe for $10 a month, Patreon takes 8%. That's reasonable. You know?
Yeah.
8%'s not a big deal.
Yeah, that's not unreasonable. It's like taxes almost, like sales tax.
Apple still takes 30%. Mm-hmm. And they take it every month.
Yes.
So every month that your payment goes through, if you do it through Apple, Apple is getting 30% of that.
Do you know what? And I don't know.
They're screwing content creators so bad.
Absolutely.
And if you go and just subscribe through a different browser that doesn't use Apple Pay, you can still view Patreon on Apple. Just when you do it at the subscription point, don't do it from an Apple device. I actually have, Brian, I have a clip here of like a visual representation of how this all works with Apple and Patreon and content creators. I'm going to play it real quick.
Let's see it.
Face up to the top. I like the beat, get ready to rock the face up to the top. I like the beat, get ready to rock the face up to the top.
So that's how that works.
That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah. So, you know, even if you don't apply this to my channel or Brian's channel, if you guys are going to support any content creator, please do not do it through Apple.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm guessing you don't want to give them 30% of whatever you're trying to donate. Because I'm assuming when people support, you know, us on Patreon or throw in a super chat, they're doing that to like, hey, here's a little support for your channel. And they're not trying to support Apple. Yeah, Chris Jenkins, like Venmo, PayPal, those are the ways to go. I think if I ever hit 5,000 subscribers on this long, drawn-out slog to the 5,000 mark, I'm going to try to do like maybe like a celebration thing, because I've never really done that for hitting any of the milestones. And I might like maybe do like some raffles for some bottles or samples or something. And I think I'm just going to do that exclusively through like, I'll put a PayPal link on there.
Yeah, or a Venmo.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiast, Brian and Deb are in the house.
They just got back. They were just down in Austin for a few days. They got an incredible bottle haul.
I didn't see the bottle haul. I saw a short. Did they put out a bottle haul video, or do you just know about the
Yeah, I
don't. Was it maybe
I,
on Facebook?
I saw the thumbnail for it, and I'm not sure, Brian, you can probably find out quicker than I can find out, or tell us in the chat quicker. Did you guys put out that video yet? Because I saw the thumbnail for it, and there was just so many bottles. But I don't know if they... Hold on, I'm looking right now. Oh, it's their... So their live stream. Oh, no.
Okay.
They got a live stream.
I still don't know how to accept Bitcoin for tipping, but we'll figure that out some night. All right, I'm going to do the raffle here real quick.
All right, let's do it.
And then get out of here. Let's do share screen. Okay. So the remaining folks that haven't won yet, which is weird. I feel like I don't think I have anybody on here who's won already. So, all right, let's get into it. Can you guys see that? There we go.
There it is. Yep.
All right, let's shuffle it up. Again, this is for, I'm sending out another round of these Elijah Craig samples, just because I had so much fun doing this. Just because it gives you kind of... Yeah. So I bought these barrel aging Spires, $15 for a 3-pack. One of them's Amberana, one's French oak, and one's American oak. And so I think it's fun because then, you know, whoever wins this can try these against a regular Elijah Craig small batch. You just go buy a mini bottle of it somewhere. Sure. You can see what it does to that. And if you like what it does, pay $15 and get one of, you know, a 3-pack of one of each of these and actually do that to a bottle, like maybe even one of your favorite bottles or something. Or take a bad bottle, you know, throw the Spire in there. So I'm going to send out another round of the 3-packs of this in my cool little bourbon note boxes here.
Nice. Oh, so, those are cool. Where did we get those?
So I just ordered this off of Amazon. These things actually here. I removed myself on accident.
I'll go full screen real quick. Out of the...
That's actually just a sticker.
Cool.
Yeah, it's actually just a sticker. I ordered.
Oh, you just put a sticker on it. Okay.
Yeah, that I put on my my sample bottles. But I got the stickers off of Amazon too. Just for like not much money, personalized stickers. And then I got this size of box. It fits 3 sample bottles with, I got little styrofoam inserts to put in with them, or 4 1-ounce samples. So it's actually pretty good. Yeah, and they weren't expensive. If you need boxes like this, I'll send you the link for it.
I'll look those up for sure.
Okay, how do I get out of here now?
There we go.
All right, without further ado, let's get into the raffle here. Tom the Bourbon Jerk. All right, Tom. Remove all instances. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, Tom, I will, if you don't see this, I'll send you an email. I want to have Tom on a live stream at some point here anyway. So
I've asked him a couple times about Whiskey 6, and we just haven't gotten it to work out yet, but we're going to have him on sometime soon for sure. Yeah,
he's a great dude. I was on his channel one night. We had a lot of fun. By the way, before we get out of here, it's funny to me, like I'm still stumbling across channels that have a few thousand subs that have been around for a couple years that I'm just finding now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't really seen. Have you seen Brad's Bourbon Reviews?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great channel. I
just
like
kind of
came across his stuff and so I've been commenting on some of his videos. But like he's been around for a couple years now or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's got around like between 5,000 and 6,000 subs. So you'd think I would have had him in my algorithm at some point, but honestly, I had never really seen his stuff before. But he's got great content.
Yeah, I'd like to have him on too. I have him on my list of people to contact. So,
well, yeah, for sure, because I saw in one of his recent videos, he's I think the only other person in the world that agrees with me with on Elijah Craig C923.
You didn't like it?
He put it as an overrated bottle, which I did.
Oh, we liked the A better that year than the C. I think we went ABC that year. I think C was our least favorite one.
Was it really? I thought you guys, because that's what it was for me too. I think it was ABC as well.
And I don't even
C
buy
was
them
last.
anymore. I was just talking about this with somebody today. I don't even buy the barrel proofs anymore. I think they've just declined in enjoyment.
I still think they're damn good bourbons, but I was kind of on this kick where I was like, well, are they different enough at this point that I really need to keep buying them? And then I did a flight on a live stream of like all of the 2024 batches, and they all actually were pretty different.
Yeah.
But I've seen the releases for, I've seen the A125 for like 70 at Sam's Club, and I've passed on it. But incidentally, I have not seen any of the 2025 Larceny barrel proofs. So I think those are starting to get hard to find now.
I haven't seen any of either of them, the ECBPs or the Larcenys around here. We've got a shop up in Buffalo that is lousy with A124. I bet you they got about 60 bottles sitting there.
Of the Elijah Craig?
Yeah, the Elijah Craig A124.
Okay. Oh, Ryan Frank says, Brian, you've been a gentleman tonight, reading and laughing at some of my comments tonight. I appreciate you, brother. I'll be Patreon bound with you very soon. All right.
Oh, right on, man. Thanks.
And then Brian says he just tried the Tennessee Travelers. What did you think of those?
Oh, are those the ones you sent? Is that like the sweet and spicy or smoky and whatever?
Yeah, sweet and oaky and bold and spicy. Did I send those to you?
No, I have not had those.
I thought I know I've sent out some of those to a handful of people.
Myron says he hasn't seen the Larceny either. I wonder if people have kind of made the decision that I'm switching from the ECBP to the Larcenys because from what I've seen, people have reviewed the Larcenys much better, at least in the last year.
I've been seeing that a lot too. And I've always been a big fan of Larceny Barrel Proof. I actually like the regular Larceny as just a cheap budget sipper. Yeah. I know Myron's not a big fan of the regular one. But I've always been a big fan of those. And, Myron talks highly about the Bernheim Barrel Proofs. And I couldn't agree with him more. I really like the Bernheim Barrel Proofs. And those are just starting to show up here and there in Minnesota as well. But, I mean, I've also got a bunch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. Between that and the picks, I can get access to a Larceny Barrel Proof pick for like $70. I haven't bought it yet, but there's a local store that has it. So I think I'll get one of those. But I haven't seen any of the 25 batches at all. And I think like I'm seeing like on YouTube a lot people are talking about Larceny kind of surpurpassing Elijah Craig. I don't even know if it's necessarily that it's better. It's just different, and it's I think that the quality of the Larcenys is going up, so people are just liking those just as much, if not better. I don't know that it's necessarily a better bourbon. It just kind of depends on what you're in the mood for. I think it might have something to do with what they have to pull from, too. I mean, the ECBP might be
a little more depleted than the larceny is, you know.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
I feel like things are drying up in general, and I'm hopeful that by the time we get to September, October, it'll pick up again. But like, I just went to my local shop where we do our picks and stuff, and I was like, "Hey Tyler, what you got anything in?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Last week we got one bottle of, I forget what it was. They got one bottle of something, and that was it. It might have been like a keeper's release or something like that. Like, in the week before, he got Star Hill Farms, and that was the only like rare-ish bottle that they got. And they've got a shelf in the back where they put their allocated stuff, and they kind of, it's not for sale. They're going to put it up in a raffle. Usually they do a raffle like 3 or 4 times a year. But I mean, their shelf, usually by this time, it's got at least 2 shelves full, and it was like maybe 1.5, and none of it was really crazy impressive. It just seems like things are a little dry right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know, it's weird. Like, there's some of the, you know, kind of mid-tier allocated stuff is showing up. Like, I saw Blood Oath on the shelf today. You never see those. Being able to get the Jack Daniels 10 and 12 year, that was kind of luck, but they had a bunch of them at the time. Scored a Blanton's Gold for MSRP a couple weeks ago. Just happened to walk into the store at the right time, and I saw somebody walking out with an E.H. Taylor, and I just was like, "Hey, do you have any more of that?" And he's, "No, but we got some Blantons," and I thought it was the regular.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, my wife's got a couple of coworkers that really like it, so, you know, anytime I see it for a reasonable price, I'll pick it up for one of them. And then he's like, "I'll go back and check and see what the price is," and he brings it out, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's a gold!" Which I'd never had one, I'd never bought one, and it was MSRP, so I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I've had the
Keepers
gold as a
releases
sample, and it was
everywhere.
good. I would really like to try the straight from the barrel, because I bet you that's phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I got some stuff to still accomplish yet tonight. Brian, thank you so much for hopping on here with me.
Oh, awesome.
Please.
Anytime I'm around, I'd love to come on. I love just hanging out and chatting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, please go check out Bourbon School. Check out the Patreons. Check out Bourbon Drop. What other channels were in here tonight? Old Fashioned Ways. Go check out Old Fashioned Ways.
Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts.
Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts. And am I missing anybody with a channel?
I don't think so. I'm scrolling back through. I don't see anybody else. But if we missed somebody, sorry.
Yeah. Chalk it up to poor memory in my advancing years here.
Right.
So, all right, folks, everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week, possibly on a live stream here, but for sure on the Whiskey 6 with Baker Drink, so don't miss that.
Yep. Thursday at 9 Eastern, guys.
That will be a damn good time. I've been looking forward to having them on. All right. Have a good night, everybody.